The cold, damp air outside Fredericton hung heavily on Halloween night, a chilling breeze hinting at more than just a simple celebration. Amid laughter and teasing, three friends arrived at the gates of Cedar Park, an abandoned amusement park closed for over 4 decades. The town had approved a one-night reopening for the Halloween festival, and the mayor had rushed to clean it up. Ethan, Lily, and Iris, an inseparable group of teenagers, were ready for a night of uninhibited fun.
Check this out,
Exclaimed Ethan, the athletic football team captain, as he hopped out of his truck with excitement.
feels like we're stepping into a horror movie.
Lily, his girlfriend, laughed carelessly, flicking her hair back in a practiced move. She looked flawless in her vampire costume and couldn't stop taking videos and selfies on her phone.
It's Halloween.
She replied with a grin, eyeing the camera.
This is just so spooky. Don't you think so, Iris?
Iris, her childhood friend, a quiet, bookish girl, gazed at the park entrance with a mix of curiosity and anxiety. She'd always felt a strange connection to Cedar Park, though she hadn't understood why until that night. Her grandfather, a physicist who'd worked in experimental energy and electromagnetism, had mysteriously disappeared in this very park before she was born. Though she had never met him, her mother and grandmother had shared stories of him, filled with admiration and mystery.
Yeah, it's like the park is calling to me.
Iris murmured, distracted.
Don't start with that whole "I feel something weird" thing, Iris. We're here to have fun, all right?
Lily shot her a quick, half-joking, half-serious glance. Iris forced a smile and followed her friends into the park, not noticing that as they ventured further in, the few other attendees around them wore blank, expressionless faces, almost like they were part of the park's scenery. Once inside, Ethan led them to the Hall of Mirrors, drawn by the distorted reflections and the air of mystery it promised. They paused at the entrance. The mirrors looked old and scratched, some marked with dark stains that lent them a sinister appearance.
This is gonna be awesome,
Ethan said, winking and stepping inside first, followed by Lily, who laughed endlessly. Iris entered last, feeling a strange tightness in her chest from the first step. Inside, the mirrors twisted and warped their reflections. Ethan and Lily moved ahead, making faces and posing, while Iris lingered a bit behind. She noticed that some reflections moved a second after her, as if the mirrors resisted revealing what was truly in front of them.
Guys.
Iris whispered, but Ethan and Lily were too absorbed in their own antics to hear her. In one mirror, Iris glimpsed a figure in the background, a blurred shadow watching her with an intense, cold gaze. She blinked, but the figure remained static, its expression twisted between hatred and pity. She took a step back, and when Ethan noticed her fearful expression, he couldn't resist teasing her.
Come on, Iris. Don't let the mirrors freak you out. Look, boo!
He shouted mockingly, making her jump.
That's not funny, Ethan.
She replied, visibly annoyed.
I think we should get out of here.
Lily nodded, mostly to avoid upsetting Iris rather than out of fear. They exited the Hall of Mirrors, but the atmosphere had shifted. Outside, the festive music had turned slow and distorted. The lights flickered as though they were about to go out, and shadows seemed to take on lives of their own in every dark corner. Heading toward the haunted house, an old ruin, something caught their attention: the Ferris wheel standing at the end of a darkened path. They paused, feeling the air grow even heavier. Ethan and Lily stared at the wheel in awe, while Iris remained silent, feeling a growing sense of unease.
Hey, who turned on the wheel?
Ethan asked, breaking the silence. Lily frowned.
I thought everything here was broken. I didn't see any workers.
The Ferris wheel began to turn slowly, creaking with each rotation, and as it rose and fell, the three could make out something in the seats. They weren't normal figures. From a distance, they saw distorted shapes, elongated faces, and strangely hunched bodies. The figures seemed to stare down at them from the heights, with hollow eyes and twisted mouths.
What the?
Lily whispered, unable to look away.
Let's get out of here.
Iris suggested, tugging on Ethan's arm. He finally nodded, though a mixture of fascination and fear lingered from what they'd just witnessed. Trying to ignore the scene at the Ferris wheel, they made their way toward the haunted house, only to lose themselves in a more decayed section of the park. The paths became increasingly indistinct, as if the park were rearranging itself around them, blocking any way of escape.
Do you guys hear that?
Iris asked, stopping abruptly. A faint whisper drifted through the air, a distant, unintelligible voice that sounded oddly familiar.
I don't know, but I don't like this.
Ethan looked around, searching for the source of the voices. He muttered, setting his jaw and taking the lead to find a way out. They finally arrived at an old building that looked like a maintenance center. Inside, they found dust-covered control panels and antique machinery, still emitting a faint hum. Iris approached one of the panels, feeling an inexplicable urge guiding her.
Iris, what are you doing?
Lily asked, her voice trembling.
I don't know, something tells me this has to do with my grandfather.
As she spoke, a vision washed over her. In her mind, she saw a man, her grandfather, adjusting cables and reviewing equations on a chalkboard, muttering to himself. Yet the image was blurry and fragmented, like a dream dissolving.
Iris.
Ethan urged, visibly frightened. Iris nodded but kept her gaze fixed on the control panel. Somehow she knew what to do. She flipped an ancient switch and instantly the park came to life. Lights flickered, rides groaned, and dark shadows appeared around the attractions, watching them in silence. Seated in the truck, with Ethan at the wheel, Lily in the passenger seat, and Iris in the back, the three tried to catch their breath. As Ethan started the engine and they began the drive back to town, a heavy, almost suffocating silence filled the vehicle. Iris closed her eyes for a moment, feeling the fear slowly leave her. But when she opened her eyes, a chill ran through her. Ethan and Lily were there, but something about their faces had changed. Their features looked strangely distorted, their eyes dark, expressionless pits.
Ethan? Lily?
She asked, her voice trembling, but received no response. The figures in front turned to her without blinking, as the landscape outside grew darker and more surreal, as if they'd never left the park.
The Fredericton police are asking for the public's help to locate three teenagers. Ethan Martin, Lily Thompson, and Iris Collins, last seen on October 31st near the old Cedar Park. Any information regarding their whereabouts would be greatly appreciated. Authorities continue their search in the area, but so far no leads have been found.